recording this presentation. We had a little technical difficulty the last time we had the training. However, we did ensure that this time we had that recording for you. So we are recording now.
Perfect, and that'll help for future training purposes. So really appreciate that. Thank you.
You're very welcome. All right, so let's get started with our training. We have our first thing we're going to cover is our agenda this morning. Again, 10 a.m. to 11, we're going to be going over the PowerPoint presentation that we created for the team. From 11 to 12, we will be going over the Philosophy training. All right, so let's get started on our PowerPoint presentation. We're going to be going over 6 things. We're going to be covering the discovering CIU, how the students discover CIU, and how they join us. We're going to be going over enrolling. We're going to get starting, how the students get started into the program. Then we're going to be going over socializing, how do the students socialize and the benefits that CIU, the studying platform, resources, and finally, graduation. Discover. So I know the last time we spoke, Noel, one of the things that you mentioned was, okay, why CIU? These are our CIU pillars. And first thing that we tell students that we are personal, we're accessible, and we have that entrepreneur spirit. We are small enough to care, where we know every single one of our students by name. We're accessible, so the students are able to access their course 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and work at their own pace, at their own time. So we have students from all around the world. And of course, we have an entrepreneur spirit. The school was built by entrepreneurs for entrepreneurs. So this is one thing that you can emphasize to business students that want to learn more about CIU. We have the support. We have a service-oriented culture. Everyone here at the university works together to ensure that the student is successful. We're all about advocating for the student. We have, support from other students, from faculty, and of course, alumni. The tone, of course, is always supportive and encouraging. That's one thing that we talked about in our previous training about supportive. That's one key thing that we emphasize here at the university. Within the accessible pillar, it's attainable, easily attainable for students. It's affordable, it's online, and it's very practical and straightforward. With the entrepreneur spirit, we're independent, we're driven, all of us here, and we're aspirational. And of course, we're also challenging, so we want to make sure that the students, take away a lot from the program, not only from the curriculum here, but also learning from their fellow classmates in their courses. All right, so we're still in the discover phase of the program. So these are our programs that the CIU offers. We start off with undergraduates. We have our associate's degree. We have 3 associate's degrees, as you can see there. I'm not going to cover each, it would be a lot, but these are 3 associate degrees. Then we have our bachelor's program. We have 6 bachelor's programs there. Bachelor of Engineering, then we have a Bachelor of Business Administration and Healthcare Administration. That's something that Chelsea emphasized about. They all have a general program in each of the levels. Next, we go to our master's program. We have 7 programs there. And we also have our doctorate programs. We have 5 doctorate programs. So those are there for you all to view. Again, we will be sending this PowerPoint presentation over your way so that you guys can have this for records and know the programs and the titles. Discover, learning about CIU. So how do students connect with us? How do students start with CIU enrolled? Well, the first thing we do have is our website. So we have our website where students can, ask for a request for information and start the enrollment process. We also have phone outreach. We have our enrollment managers here that do conduct outreach for the students who requested more information for the school. Emailing, we have students who email the school to get more about our institution. We also have our marketing AdWords through Google and advertising online. And then we have word of mouth, a lot of students who refer other students that they know that can benefit from the programs here with CIU. So those are 5 of the ways that prospective students can learn about CIU. Enrolling, preliminary admissions requirements. So what do the students need to enroll? So these 6 things are the 6 things that all students are required. The first thing is a properly completed application form, which is available at Cal University website. You will have to complete an in-depth interview with Cal University Enrollment Advisor. There is an application fee of $25, which is non-refundable after 5 business days, if applicable. And 4, evidence of previous academic work, sealed transcripts, official transcripts from an appropriately accredited institution will be required to document the applicant's prior education. It's very important. In addition to that, students using financial aid must submit official transcripts before being awarded aid. Number 5, a clear and legible copy of government-issued photo identification. And lastly, number 6, completion of enrollment agreement. An enrollment agreement must be signed and received by CalU Intercontinental University no later than midnight, 12 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, Wednesday, prior to the requested start date. So those are the 6 preliminary admissions requirements. All right, so then now we go into the enrolling. We have the undergraduate admissions. It's different from the graduate admissions. For the undergraduate admissions, first thing is official documentation showing the completion of high school diploma or GED. As you can see here, those are the documents that we need. DD 214 documents showing high school completion may be accepted as an official proof of school graduation for military and veteran students. Again, going back to our previous training, we are a military-friendly school. B is an official transcript from college, university, documenting proof of high school graduation, including high school name and date of graduation. And C, for bachelor's degree applicants only, an official transcript from a college, university, documenting proof of completion of associate's degree. And that also ensures that students get those transfer credits. Number 2, if the applicant has completed some approved post-secondary college work, a sealed copy of his or her official transcripts may be required. And in the bottom, I know we also mentioned this in the last training about the self-certification down below in the cases where students are unable to provide official documentation showing the completion of a high school diploma or its GED or its recognized equivalent. The student may ask to complete a self-certification form from the enrollment management team. So this is the undergraduate admissions. All right, so enrolling to a master's and doctorate admissions, number 1 thing, again, we do need actually this is for only doctorate and master's and doctorate admissions, a curriculum or professional resume. For master's program, a minimum and official transcript showing the completion of a bachelor's degree or its equivalent. If students want to transfer in credits, we do need to ensure that we provide, students provide the official transcripts from another same level work completed, the master's level work completed. For graduate programs, the applicant prior undergraduate college academic records must show a minimal cumulative grade point average of a 2.0. No, actually 3.0, I apologize, 3.0. And number 3, for doctorate programs, official transcripts showing the completion of a master's degree from an approved or accredited college or university institution. If the master's degree was earned in an unrelated field, the academic department may evaluate the submitted documents to determine a reasonable foundation for the applicant to successfully complete the doctorate program. All right, so Eddie is going to be covering the rest of this PowerPoint presentation, starting up with the tuition fee estimates.
Thank you, David. So what you see on your screen is all of our programs divided first by the total credits associated with each program. So for example, associate degree program is 60 units, bachelor's degree program is 120, the graduate certificate program is 12, our master's degree program are 36 units, and our doctorate program is 60. So the cost per credit is listed here. The associates and bachelors are both $345. Graduate certificates, masters, and doctorates are all $495 cost per credit, and each course is 3 credits as well. And all listed here, the application fee for every program is $25, and the registration fee for each program is also $125. That's the same level for each applicant and every program. And listed here to see a very competitive tuition rates. The associate degree program is the course where the student without any transfer credit is $20,700. Bachelor's degree program is $41,400. Our graduate certificate program is actually only $5,340. Then lastly, our master's and doctorate programs, our masters are $16,020, and doctorate is $26,700. That's not with any waivers or discounts applied as well. Our e-textbook digital course fees are $75 per course as well. Listed here is actually the amount total for each course. Associate is $1,500. Bachelor's degree program is $3,000. Certificate is $300. Grad certificate, excuse me. And our master's is $900 total, and doctorate is $1,500. So that includes the e-textbooks in which every student does have access to for every course at every program level. Every student gets an ebook and those costs attached. The graduation fee of each program in CC exam, excuse me. Associate degree is $175. That's just a graduation fee. The bachelor's degree program actually is $210, and that includes the CCA exam. There is no fee for CCA exam for the graduate certificate program. Master's degree program, graduate fee is $175. There are no CCA exams there. In the doctorate program, is $175, and the CCA exam fee included, which is $210. So now let's look at the total estimated program cost as well. And of course, it includes no discounts, applicable fees waived. Associate degree program competitively in $22,525. Bachelor's degree program, the total cost of $44,760. Grad certificate is $6,390. Master's program less than $20,000, $19,445. And the doctorate program lastly at $31,950 as well. These are additional charges per enrollment, $150 for each program. And the total cost per course, which is probably the most popular question students ask. So you can see here, at the associate level, $1,110. Bachelor's also $1,110. Grad certificate, $1,410 as well, and including the master's and doctorate also $1,410. And that includes the cost per credit, 3 courses per course, and the e-textbook fee. So this is the enrollment process as well, beginning with the new inquiry. Then the enrollment manager does an enrollment advisor as an interview with the student. Based on their interview, they would then apply to the program as well on our website. They would, once they apply, they'd be in contact with the financial aid department, discuss their payment plan, financial aid questions. And the result of that, once that has been confirmed and as well, and the application has been accepted, they are then enrolled as well. An enrollment process. There's then an acceptance interview. They're interviewed and followed up on once their enrollment is complete as well. And then they're officially enrolled by the registrar's office. And the registrar's office actually verifies everything as well in the enrollment process as well, and make sure that the file's been updated and completes their schedule. Once they are enrolled, the student advisors, like myself and David, are receiving notification to contact the student, and we follow up the student directly within 24 to 48 hours to review the start of their program, including scheduling dates for new student orientation. Once they complete orientation, once they talk to us, the executive student service advisors, the student starts on their designated term start date. All right, so getting started. One of the most critical times of students' life is starting at a new school, and we understand that, and that's what we encourage that we follow up the student initially before they get started and answer all their questions. And so we recognize this at CIU, taking many steps to onboard our students. This onboarding process has many components, including a personal call to welcome the student and talk about how to get started, student advisor outreach to go over the steps of starting school, a set of welcome instruction emails, and a required orientation video aids. So you saw earlier in that slide with enrollment student advisor, we do go into detail everything we can to ensure the student successfully start on the day of the program. Getting started, welcome orientation chat. Myself and David, the advisors, are dedicated to a smooth onboarding process with a step-by-step orientation help. We intensely immerse our students in a supportive environment that's constructive, motivational, and social. We do schedule regular chats with our students to get their questions answered in real time. So we get a welcome message, a login, orientation, and then they start. So ideally, this is the exact process we want all of our students to log in as well. And of course, between each welcome message or before orientation, there may be questions. And they can, of course, talk to us in real time and discuss their needs and questions. Socializing. So what's important things on our students, so our students are 100% online is Bio Monday initially. On the first day of class, a student introduction occurs in every course. So whatever program you're in, the student completes a bio statement that they type into the course room as well. And it really does help students opportunity to network with their fellow classmates. We have a student resource center, a great place to post achievements, share ideas, and find resources. There are discussion forums located there as well. And we do have social media as well, a Facebook page and LinkedIn group page as well, which is growing and we've been utilizing for all of our students. Student portal studies. So our student portal supports students' academic experience, provides account management as features, they can submit lessons and view grades, check shipping status and review transcripts, access handbooks and forums, and review their student account as well. This is very important. The student actually has access to the student portal prior to their start date. They can review all their administrative information is located in the student portal. And you're seeing here on the screen is actually the login screen, the login credentials for students who will log into their portal. They do achieve their username beforehand and have their password created once they apply to the program officially. Studying, a learning platform. What you're seeing here is a screenshot of GRC 600 as well, one of our doctorate level courses. And the shell of the outline of these courses is very similar in each program, but the main materials that they have access to when they start the program begins their syllabus. Then they want to review their instructor policies. There's a note from the instructor. There's supplemental materials, assignment format as well, lessons and units, reading assignments, study guide, review questions, threaded discussion, PowerPoint presentations, textbooks as well, and e-textbooks are the default option and are embedded within the course. There are no hard copy textbooks shipped. Students have the option of purchasing a hardcover copy if they'd like to do so. All right, of course, we have our graduation and commencement ceremony annually as well. Our most recent ceremony was this past August at the Richard Nixon Library in Yorba Linda, California, here in Orange County. So students annually are informed of the upcoming commencement as well. They're aware of the commencement annually and strive to, of course, complete their program on time. They can meet in person. It is optional. We really do encourage students to attend commencement when they can meet the entire staff and their fellow classmates. And that ends our presentation. Before we move forward with our training, I want to ensure if there are any questions on our presentation today. And use the chat box, of course, answer live.
Hey everyone, good afternoon. Nice job with the presentation. It's a good overview. Question on the admissions process workflow in regards to timing. So as we work with students through the pipeline and get them to a completed application, what's the turnaround time once they have all their documents in regards to an admit decision? What are you guys usually working at there?
24 hours.
And that communication would be done via email? Do they have to log back into a portal? How does that usually happen?
Yeah, they'll receive an email from the registrar saying that their file has been reviewed, cleared, and they're admitted to the university.
And are they given a point of contact in that email as well in case they have any questions, or is it like an academic advisor, or is it one of the counselors?
Usually at that point, the enrollment team will follow up with them to make sure that they have no questions.
Fantastic, thank you.
Is there an application fee CIU for returning. Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Hello. Hi, everyone. I just wanted to know, is there an application fee for returning students? Let's say they have their bachelor's and they're interested in their master's. Do they still go through us, or is that a different process?
That's a good question. So you're to clarify, so the student who applied here before, earned their bachelor's, and then is applying again at CIU for their MBA, correct?
Right.
That's a great question. It would go to the same enrollment process as the other students who came in for the first time.
Okay.
Gotcha. That's a good question.
Yeah, no, that's good. Okay. So there's not a like Office of Returning Students or anything of that nature that would handle this. It goes right through the same process that a first-time student would go through, is what we're saying.
So if they're coming back for a new degree,
Yes.
so previously they earned their degree before and it was a bachelor's, and now they're coming from the MBA, they go through the process as a new student because it's a whole new enrollment, it's a new program that needs to be added to the system. They're treated just like a new student. However, we do have re-enrolls and re-entries, and that's for students that did not graduate but took a break. Maybe they took 6 months off, and now they're returning. Then they go through student services to come back, which is a streamlined process. They don't have to sign a new enrollment agreement. They just they talk to their advisor, they go over the record, pick up where they left off, and get registered for classes. If they've been out for over a year, if the last time they were here was a year or longer, then they are considered again like a new student, and they go through the front to the enrollment team, and we review all their documents, make sure that their ID is up to date, their enrollment agreement, new enrollment agreement is created, and they're subject to new fees and the new policies. Unlike the other students that were out for less than a year, they come back and they resume where they left off.
Great, thank you. In terms of, I know we did not get into individual programs during the session, but do you guys have individual differentiators for each program that kind of help us sell each program individually? Any type of rankings or accolades that you may share with your students on campus that may help us when we're talking to students over the phone? Placement rates, or any if there's any certification placement or pass rates for any of these programs, graduation rates, things of that nature, any World and U.S. News report rankings or anything like that that CIU has achieved in the recent past? That would be helpful. You don't have to answer me right now. It's something you can work with marketing on, but that's definitely something we would definitely use in our scripting or in our discussions with the students.
Absolutely. I think that's a great question. One of the things that we can tell you, one of our accolades, is that we were ranked top online school.
Like 30 something.
We were, 30, it was around a 30s. But we can find that information for you, absolutely. We can forward it to you, Noel.
That would be perfect, thanks.
So since we're on the Discover Programs slide, not sure if we touched on this last time. Can you tell us a little bit of, I guess, the difference between a Bachelor's of Engineering Information Technology and just a straight-up Bachelor's of Science in IT? What are some of the nuances between those two programs?
Yeah, great question. There's required courses, or they go into a specialization courses for each of the programs. So they'll all be required to take the general ed courses, but then once they selected a specialization, they will have to take those specific courses to fulfill that specific choice of program. And we do have the program matrices available that we can also provide to you all. And each program has the required courses with the specific specialization courses. And this is also for the bachelor's, the master's, and the doctorate programs. And in those program matrices, it also includes the program description, what you will be emphasizing in, what you will be learning, what you will get out of it, and also the course description for each of those courses that you will be taking for that program. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, kind of. So if I was a brand new student and I wanted to go into a bachelor's of engineering, let's say the project management track, what kind of careers would that person potentially pursue? Or I guess in layman's terms, what would be the profile of the type of student that wants to go into engineering, IT, and project management?
That's a great question. And that's probably one of the more popular emphasis in the IT side. So a lot of the students in the project management section, rather than the NSS one, the networking and system security, project management has a lot of students that are already working in IT, information technology, that are either at a maybe lower level management position as well. And a lot of them are looking to then become either the manager or they're the manager now at an IT, their IT department at their institution or company, and they're looking to get usually a larger pay scale. A lot of times they already have transfer credits in. They're looking to get that PM degree and either ensure that they get the management position or looking to continue to move forward, as well as networking and system security. Is a little different. We have students working more in detailed career fields, working in I would say more security, kind of level positions, not necessarily management, to be completely honest, as well. That's the main differences. A lot of them are working in IT already and have transfer credits, to be honest, already going in, and are looking for that completion of the degree program to go further in their position as well. And a lot of times there's this recommendation of their company and organization they're already in to utilize degree programs and project management in particular.
Okay. So with that project management track, before we get off that topic, do any of your project management tracks lead to any type of certification or the ability for a student to sit for a board or an exam?
No, there's no current certifications with the current model of the Bachelor's of Engineering and Technology. That's a great question.
Okay, thanks.
I have a question regarding scholarships. On the website, it says that there is a form that they need to complete. Is that something that we'll have access to?
Yes, it will. It usually comes in the enrollment team, so you will have that form. It'll be a simple one-page application that we can provide to you, and then you can fill out and get back to us. So that way, by the time they get to the financial aid team, they already have their scholarship form prepared, and we can talk to them about their fees with the scholarship in mind.
Okay, thank you.
As part of the application process, at any point in time, does your admissions team have a proxy process to collect transcripts on behalf of the students?
Yes, the registrar's office, they will help us obtain any transcripts whenever the student needs assistance with that.
Really? So if I can't seem to get my transcripts, you will go to the school, I'll fill out a form, and you'll obtain my transcripts for me, including the fee too, or is that something that I'd have to pay in the back end?
Nope. We often cover the fee for students as well. Usually it's around $10, and we have a budget for that.
Fantastic. Well, that's great. That's great.
Questions?
Any questions, guys? Yeah.
No, pretty good.
Yeah, I had another question. So we didn't spend a lot of time on the engineering programs last time. That's why you see some more questions here coming up. Just at a high level, if someone was to come to you and ask Bachelor's of Engineering in Information Technology versus Bachelor's of Science in Information Technology, what would kind of be like the elevator pitch to that student, what the difference is and why one is better or not better than the other?
Sorry, you broke off for a few months. You think someone that comes to us has better between the Bachelor of Engineering and Bachelor of Science? I wouldn't answer the question. Is that what you said? No,
Exactly. What's the difference between Bachelor's of Engineering in Information Technology and Bachelor's of Science in Information Technology? Are there certain courses that lead to the Bachelor's of Engineering kind of degree program versus other schools might have Bachelor's of Science or more sciences in the program? How would you answer that?
Absolutely. So that is correct. Mainly the emphasis, so that the latter part, 5 to 10 courses, from my understanding, are different between the Bachelor of Engineering in IT and the Bachelor of Science in Information Systems as well, and the type of IT courses as well. A lot of the IT prospective students do come in kind of with a plan depending on their field, and they look at the level, the type of courses, the training they'll be doing as well, and they make that determination. A lot of it's based on like their job they're already in right now as well, but the courses are different between the two as well. I would say that a few more students do come in on the engineering side rather than the Bachelor of Science side. We're seeing a trend in that direction, but a lot of times too with those two programs and even the other Bachelor of Engineering program, we do provide them the program matrices to ensure they look at the level of IT courses and the type of course they'll be taking. Then they make a determination, as to what courses they're going to be taking moving forward. And we can provide you the program matrix as well, and you'll see there are differences between the various IT level courses and the science and engineering programs as well.
Thank you. Thanks. Well, let's digest. I'm looking at both of the degrees, and the courses seem similar, but there's a couple that aren't, that don't translate. So it's just a lot to digest. Appreciate it. Also, notice online you have the sequencing. Semester 1, 2, 3, all the way down to 9. Sequencing, is that important in all the programs, or if I come in with 30 credits, it's okay that I can take one course ahead of another as long as it's not a prerequisite, anything of that nature, or is this like suggested sequencing?
Yeah, the student semesters are student-based. So basically, if I start in our next start, which is November 6th, that's when my semester starts, and I will pick up whatever courses I need to take for that semester. I'll start there. A student starting January 1st, which starts term 1, that'll be their semester. That's when it starts. And that's basically how their future sequences will be laid out based on the student start date. So a student starting in November and a student starting in January, there's no advantage or disadvantage. It's just how we categorize their semesters, and it's pretty much only for financial aid purposes. So the student not receiving financial aid, the semesters are almost irrelevant. These semesters are particularly only important for financial aid students because that's how we make disbursements and determine eligibility, et cetera.
Yeah, and in regards to, I think your additional question is regarding the order of the program. So the courses are structured or aligned in a way that you build upon them. So, the general courses are taken first to accommodate that you learn the basics so that you can go ahead and take a stats course or move up in the level of courses. However, one of the questions was, can they, choose and select the courses? Of course, the students can definitely look at the courses, see what courses they need to take, and if they want to request a course to be taken before a prerequisite, then we can definitely do that for the students.
Okay, so that's good because you mentioned personalizing and support, so that's a positive thing as well.
And the terms within the semester are 8 weeks long, correct?
6 weeks.
6 weeks.
6 weeks, okay.
6 weeks, and then in one academic year, there's 8 terms.
8 terms in 1 year, okay. And the students typically take 1 class per 6 weeks? Do they sometimes take 2 per 6 weeks? What do you usually see?
Yes, so some students do take additional courses within their term as well. So that's not out of the ordinary. We do discuss that in the onboarding process. It's not very common, but give you an example, on the bachelor's degree program, a student can take up to 3 courses in the bachelor's degree program. It's not something that we discuss initially as an option as well, but when students do request that, we make those best accommodations we can. They can afford, and of course, that can best fit their schedule as well. A big factor is if they're asking success. We don't encourage that early in the program as well, but we do make recommendations based on their schedule and their success so far. The MBA and the doctorate level courses, it's probably a little less common to take more than 1 class as well. But students can do that. They can take more than 1 class at the MBA and DBA level, with, of course, meeting prerequisites and their academic success as well. And more common in the MBA level than the DBA, understandably, as well. One thing that is not doubled up on is some students in the doctorate program take complete a dissertation at the latter part of the program, and that dissertation is complete in a sequence. So those are the only exception which a student does not be able to double up on as well. And we discussed that also in the onboarding process. The student inquires about that.
Yeah, and I just wanted to, again, clarify on the academic year and the semester. So there's 8 terms in 1 year, and then there's 2 semesters in 1 academic year.
2 semesters in 1 year. It's like fall and spring.
Correct.
Okay, so 2 semesters in 1 year. Okay, so you have your spring and your fall term. So you guys don't do courses over the summer? Or
yeah, we have an open enrollment year. Do you have an academic? Let me pull up an academic.
Within an academic year, so do you consider the summer part of your fall, or the summer the part of your spring, or do you split it in the middle? How do you measure that?
So when we say 2 semesters in an academic year, again, that's just for financial aid purposes. A student not receiving financial aid, their academic year, they take 1 course at a time, and that's sort of how they understand their terms. For financial aid, it's 2 semesters in an academic year to resemble the fall and spring. When they're done with the academic year, they start another academic year, and it goes again like fall and spring. So it's year-round. They don't take a break. There's no summer per se, and there's no summer break either. So throughout the year, we do have spring, well, I guess we call it like a spring break or Easter break, which is 1 week. We do have the summer break, which is another 1 week off. And we also have during after Christmas, prior to New Year's, we have another week off. Those are essentially the only breaks. Other than that, their academic years are back to back, and they're based on the date that they started.
Okay.
So it's non-traditional. It's a full actual year. It's a full calendar year that's broken up into terms, into 2. Yeah, you're splitting the year halfway down the middle with the summer. Okay. Yeah, I mean, this is more, traditional online, school type setup versus other schools that we work with, which are campus-based schools, ex-university of state, whatever, that has a summer. Okay, cool, that's good. No, this is good. Thank you, I appreciate that. This is a great calendar too. We can utilize that because it does spell it out a lot easier once you see it.
Yeah.
So you can see here, team, there's 8 terms that students can start in. So our next term coming up would be Monday, November 6th. So those students starting on November 6th will be starting their first semester there.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Cool.
Yeah, no, can we go back to the page with the fees briefly? Just wanted to touch on that. Perfect. So I see, let's see, application fee, registration fee. So, what? Total estimated cost. Is there like a fee per semester? Let's see, but like a semester fee or just like a technology fee per semester in there?
Yeah, we have the digital course material fee, which is $75 per course.
Oh, per course. Gotcha. Okay. Well, I guess that answers my question. Sinclair, you had a question?
Yes, hi. So because the classes are actually 6-week terms, what is the study time that you recommend for the students every week?
Yeah, so to answer your question, you mentioned what is the study time per week in the courses, correct?
Right.
Okay, excellent. Yeah, it does vary on programs, understandably, as well. The doctorate program and master's level, on average, it's more 15 to 20 hours a week at the graduate level, as well, because those two programs in particular do have written assignments, a lot more research-based and readings compared to the undergraduates. They're more closer on average to 10 to 15 hours a week at the associates and bachelor's level, primarily because the bachelor's and associates level have, understandably, particular exams and readings, while the master's and doctorate levels have research articles and research papers as well, which have more hours as well. So that's a great question. That is something we do discuss in orientation and in the onboarding and during enrollment. We do encourage students to really plan ahead and focus on time management as well, particularly the graduate program, where it is fast-paced in 6 weeks to complete each course successfully.
Mm-hmm. And in theory, if a student can never log in for the seminar, are you just archiving these and then they just turn in their homework weekly?
I'm sorry, in terms of seminar, are you referring to like an orientation, or, I'm sorry?
The actual classes that they're going to be taking online?
Okay, great. So I see what you're saying. So actually, there are no seminar or lectures in the course during the week. So everything is available to them at all times, at any point during the week, which they can access to. So during the week in their course, there's no designated time they have to attend a lecture or a seminar. It will be available to them during that week. In fact, they can actually even work ahead and look at the materials the next week as well, and finish early if they choose to do so. So not everything is available to them throughout the entire 6 weeks. No option or necessary option to have it archived as well. And they communicate with their instructor. If they do feel they may fall behind, that the materials will remain there from the previous week. They can go back and catch up if they choose to do so. Once the class is over and the term is officially over, yes, then the courses are closed and archived a few days after the term is over. Once grades are posted.
And they're checking in weekly with homework?
Absolutely, yes. There are assignments due every week by Sunday midnight, and that's at every program level. So yes, they are required to attend weekly as well, and each course is 6 weeks long. There are 6 units in each course room, and so those units must be completed by Sunday of each week as well. So for example, week 1 is unit 1, week 2 is unit 2.
And I'm so sorry, is that Pacific time or Eastern?
Pacific time. That's a great question. So that is an important detail that we discussed in orientation. That's a great question. So with students being across the globe, we do emphasize that. In fact, when they log into the Learn Center, there's actually the time is indicated when they log in. So if they understand that faculty and our hours of operation here in California is in the Pacific time zone. And that's also designated when they submit the assignment as well. So that's an important factor in the detail when students do submit assignments and communicate with us. And we really do emphasize that in the onboarding and orientation in our communication, in discussing communication.
Thank you.
Questions? No questions? Looks like the team ran out of questions.
They were all great questions.
Oh, they're good.
All right, so that concludes our first segment of our presentation. We're gonna be transitioning it over to Richard Madrigal. He will be going over the training for Velocify.
Hello, everybody.
How's it going?
Pretty good. Have you guys, are you guys familiar with Velocify?
So Chris is a little bit more familiar with it. This will be our first endeavor into the software.
I see.
But if it's anything like Salesforce, we're very, very familiar with it. Different version of Salesforce through different clients. So I'm sure it's nothing too unfamiliar.
I'll stop my screen for a second.
Anyone?
Give me 1 minute. I'm accessing my login info here. All right. Does everybody see my screen in Velocify?
Yes, we do. Yep.
So essentially, what happens is this is where we manage all of the leads, and we go through several statuses indicating where each lead is at and at what stage in the enrollment process. The leads start with the new status. You can see here, we don't have any in new status right now, but if we did, we would see that lead here. New status is obviously a very temporary status because as soon as we get a new lead, we want to attempt to contact that lead. And so that's why you see a lot of them in the attempted contact status. So the screen here that you see is all the columns are customizable. So here I see who the rep is. So this is who the lead is assigned to. Here I see the campaign, the lead's first and last name, the status, the expected start date once I have that information, program of interest, the state. It's important to note that we are not approved in all states. So the enrollment team has a list of states that we are unable to enroll, and in which case we would change the status of that lead to state not authorized, so that we know that we are unable to enroll that lead in that state. Over on the right, we have some details here, last action date. So that way I could sort by action date and kind of find out, you know, what lead have I not worked on lately. This one here, let's see, I've interviewed the student, and the last action I took was on October 5th, and my next follow-up that I had set up on October 5th was for October 19th. So on the 19th, I will follow up with that student, and that's my reminder. And so reminders do pop up. I also get emails in my inbox when a reminder is due or when a calendar event is due. And then all of my administrative, you know, controls are here to the right. So the magnifying glass tells me the details about the lead. Here I see their address, their phone number, the program they're interested, the notes, but I can't edit anything. That just gives me a glimpse into the lead itself with all the details. So I'm interested in that. Here we have other options as well. This allows me to edit the lead. Most enrollment representatives don't access that function since the lead comes in. Most of their actions take place in the action window. And here, for example, Joshua Wooten was interviewed, and so I would select my action here. So once I've interviewed them, my next step is probably to get their application completed. And so if they have done so, then I would enter the note, application was completed today, and I would set up a follow-up reminder for tomorrow to follow up with them on the enrollment agreement. So the way Velocify works is by action. So here the status, when I select the status, for example, when I select application completed as an action, it automatically changes the status of the lead to application completed from interview. A lead that's in application completed will have an option of, let's see here. The next option would be enrollment agreement signed or EA signed. Go ahead.
And a quick question on that, by the way, as you go. I saw you use the example where you did application completed. How would we know it was an application completed? I mean, are you going off the word of the students, or are you verifying that the app was actually completed? How do you verify that info?
Yeah, typically all the enrollment advisors get a notice when an application is completed, and so that's how you would know. So you would get a notice from an email from our other system, which is Campus View. So students complete the application. The application is completed on Campus View's portal. Anytime an application is completed, an email blast gets sent out to the enrollment team, and you'll have that record. That way you know if an application was completed.
I see. Okay, that clarifies that for us. I felt like there was a piece missing there. Okay, perfect. Thank you.
No problem. Let's see here. What other options? Let me get more statuses. So here I see all my attempted contacts. And again, like this allows me to keep track and make sure that I'm following up as needed. I'm able to sort. If I do, here are my filters up at the top. 16 statuses. Right now I'm looking at 16 statuses. I'm going to go one by one here. So if I only want the attempted contact, that's the status that is immediately after the lead is labeled as new. The first thing that it goes to is going to go to attempted contact. These are all my attempted contacts. I want to sort by last action date and make sure that that I'm following up on my attempted contacts. For example, here I have a lot of attempted contacts that have not been followed up in October. So we have some work to do we have some catching up to do here. Here on the right, we have the last action. This tells me that we attempted to contact the student for 7 days. If I open the action window, I will see at least 7 attempts to contact this lead. And here's the log of the attempts that were made to contact them.
Does the log also show notes? I see left voicemail. So if the note is longer, it would show it in there as well, right?
Yes.
Oh, okay, perfect.
The next step would be the attempted contacted. So these should have more detailed notes other than just LVM. And again, I'll go over and all the contacted, they have a next calendar event. Because if you spoke to the student and you left them in contacted status, then you're probably going to follow up with them. And so all contacted have a follow-up calendar event. And when they don't, the enrollment team gets a report saying, you're missing calendar events for these students. Essentially, so all these have some follow-up. I open the actions and log window, and here is the latest information that we have on the student. The student's in high school. He will graduate next year, and we're sending him some information. Here,
can you go back to the part of missing the calendar events? I don't want to gloss over that. That seems pretty important. Does that mean the lead wasn't dialed at the scheduled time and it was missed? Does the system automatically update the disposition or status when that happens?
No. So if you miss the calendar event, it drops off, and they all have a blank, and then so now it's up to the rep to go back and make sure to follow up with that student and add a calendar event that's in the future.
Oh, I see. Okay, that clears it up. Perfect. Thanks.
However, it should not happen. So, they shouldn't miss any calendar events. So this is something that I'm working with the team on, because if they schedule a calendar event and they told the student they were going to call them back on, or the prospect, they were going to call them back on Wednesday at 5 o'clock, and you don't call them back on Wednesday at 5 o'clock, then that is a lapse in judgment on our behalf.
Sure, that makes sense. Yeah.
So these are things that we're working on to get better. But so they all should have calendar events. It allows the team also to manage their day and their time. So that way when they come in to work every morning, they know exactly who they need to call by the end of the day. Yeah, the next status is interviewed. These are students where we actually conducted an interview with, and so they'll probably have longer notes. So here we have the let's see here. here's the interview. So here, the student was interviewed on 9/18. Here are the notes for the interview. And since then, the student needs to submit their application. We'll apply when he gets home. And we've been trying to get a hold of him ever since 9/18, since the interview.
And do you have a template for your note taking? I know every client uses sometimes different acronyms and things like that. So do you have a little legend or template for all that stuff?
Yeah, like that's in development right now. But yes, I do have a specific, a general format as to how notes should be entered in the system. So I'll share that with you guys. Part of it, what you see in here, part of it is what we're working on. Only recently did we update Velocify and the statuses. So it's a work in progress, but we do have a template. If you see me opening some leads that don't align with what I'm saying, it's because we're still catching up on cleaning this stuff up.
Okay.
And I actually have a question for you, Richard. So I saw a few statuses. On average, how many statuses does a student go through, like in a perfect world where students starting, the outreach, how many statuses do you change? And then what is the final status of the student once students enrolled?
Sure. So we start with new. Then immediately it should go to attempted contact. Then after that, we go to interview scheduled. Then we interview the student. Once we interview the student, the next step is application complete. Because after that, presumably they'll apply. And then after that, the next step would be enrollment in progress because they signed their enrollment agreement. And then after that, they'll be current because they're now attending school. However, in each of these stages, a student could say, I'm not interested anymore. A student can say that they want to go to a campus-based school. We can lose contact with the student. And so in each of these statuses, the student can go out of the process and go to not interested or not qualified. Say we find out that their transcripts are not, the degree that they earned was not from a accredited school or something, then they're not qualified. So at any of these points, they can come out of the process and go into a different status where do they stay, so that we can categorize them accordingly and then go back and review those leads and see what's going on with those students.
I'm guessing there are situations where they can skip statuses, right? Because you can probably contact attempt or attempt to contact and just jump straight to interviewed instead of interviewed scheduled, right?
Yeah.
Is that a possibility?
So some of them don't have the interview scheduled. They don't go through the interview scheduled process. Some of them go from attempted contact to interviewed. Some of them go to attempted contacted. So yes, they can skip statuses.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah. Like I said, and the important thing is that as the enrollment team does not manage the status, they just manage the action, and the actions trigger the statuses. And the actions are accessible through the action window. So, for example, this student was interviewed. What's my next action? Did I lose contact with them? Did he complete his application? Am I just entering a comment because he told me, not today, call me tomorrow? In which case I could just I talked to him and I scheduled a call back, or I did not contact him but I scheduled a call back, or he told me he's not interested because we don't have the program that he wants. He chose another school. He's not pleased with their accreditation, any other, or he's telling us that due to his work, he wants to start in January, which if it's a month or longer, that we're going to follow up with the student, say he wants to start next April or next May or whatnot. Then we put him in nurture, in which case we would have a calendar event that's at least a month out, since we're not going to do anything with him anytime soon. So anytime a student says, don't call me until a month later, that would be a status of, that would be a nurture action, and the student will stay there until we get closer to the time of enrollment.
And how do we put them on the do not call list?
You select the action of do not call.
Oh, there. Okay, thank you.
No problem. And so, for the most part, you'll find that all of the statuses will have a do not call action available, because at any point the student can tell you, you know what, through, do not call me anymore, right? So throughout all the statuses, you'll find that. One of the actions that does drop off from attempted contact, you won't find it anymore after that, is the bad lead status, or the bad lead action. Because essentially, after you contact them, then you pretty much, there's no reason why a rep would be labeling a bad lead after, you contacted them and you interviewed them. At that point, that action drops off from the menu. But do not call obviously stays there throughout all the statuses, because at any point they can tell you do not call. Does that make sense?
Yes, thank you so much.
What if you accidentally put them on a status of like do not bad lead? Can you go back and make changes?
Yeah, so and that does happen. Bad lead gets assigned. I get an email from the reps, and I'm able to go back there and change it.
All right, and can you show us how we would add a lead?
Sure. So here under menu, lead management, add new lead, and enter their information and save. However, this is rarely used because all of our leads get automatically imported into the system. So I don't think you'll be using that menu at all.
Okay.
Yeah, all of our leads come in. They all have like a, if a lead needs to be entered from a source that's not automatically being imported, we have lead forms that we have other staff members fill out. And those lead forms automatically connect to Velocify. And so for the reps, the leads will be in there already.
Okay.
Richard, how do you assign a lead to enrollment advisor?
Velocify is set to auto distribute leads. So there's an even distribution to all of the active users that are designated to receive leads. Occasionally, when a rep is out or absent, and I notice that there's a new lead that has not been worked on because the rep is out, then I would reassign based on the alpha split, just so that I'm reassigning leads in a equitable manner. But for the most part, you'll find that Velocify will auto-distribute the leads to the next available rep. Sometimes it automatically distributes them if somebody has not called them for about 30 minutes. If they're in new status for 30 minutes, it'll automatically assign it to the next rep until somebody attempts to contact that lead.
So when we log in, right, to Velocify, let's say Andrew logs in. Is he going to see a queue of just leads that he's supposed to dial? Or is he going to see a queue of every lead for all the programs?
Nope, he'll only see his.
Okay. Can he pull leads that belong to another admissions rep? Let's say that Riley is sick and somebody needs to dial his leads. Can he do that?
Yes. So he'll be able to look up, he could use the advanced search to look for first and last name. He could get the lead ID. He could look via email. So he'll be able to pull the lead, and then he can make the comments, call, like I said, calling for someone that's out sick. The reps will not be able to reassign it to themselves, but they'll be able to enter notes, call them, and do all the work in there. If they want it reassigned, they probably will have to request it from the administrator or a power user.
Can they view another person's queue? I mean, I know that we can pull up leads, but can we pull up full queues that belong to somebody else?
No.
Okay.
So if there's an inbound call and we miss it for whatever reason, is that going to go back into our individual queue, or is that going to go to a shared queue?
So inbound calls are handled by our team here. And so are you guys asking for you guys, right? Like if you guys have an inbound call and somebody misses it?
Right.
I'm not sure how that would be tracked. So I'm assuming, like here, the way we do it, if there's an inbound call, we track like missed calls and the live answer rate. And so that's how we kind of make sure that we are picking up the phone. And then we also have, the other campaigns where we get transfer in. And so we track them like that, so they get automatically entered into Velocify. So somebody, will have to call them back. But if it's just a general, calling in because of they saw the number on the website and somebody misses it, I think the manager or administrator will have to go through the records and see who's missing those calls.
Yeah, also I have a question. As far as the time goes for to dial like a time zone for the actual dial of a lead, is there listed there? I know I see phone numbers and times, but is there like an Eastern, Pacific, or a Mountain as far as like the detail of a lead goes? Because on another platform we have used here, I know that's been a situation we've come across, dialing a student and kind of seeing their time zone. I was just wondering if that's in there.
So these columns that you see here, they're customizable, and so you could add their time zone. Let me see. I don't. This is my view, so I'm usually not dialing these, so I don't have it. But yeah, you can add. I have the state here. Just I use it for other purposes. But I guess if you include the state, that will kind of tell you
that's
where they're at.
Okay, perfect. And if we did add the time zone, it would stay in that lead permanently, correct?
Yes. So basically, it goes. You could add another column here with that information. So each of these columns is customizable.
All right, great.
Okay, so so that's how we go through these. Velocify is pretty straightforward. Where I think in September we started updating the statuses and kind of making it work for our purpose. Velocify caters to mortgage originators, so we kind of have to work around some of those things that are not meant for for schools. But we're making progress. Some of this stuff is we're currently developing. So as you guys work with it and you guys have some feedback, we can definitely make the adjustments. But in general, we just go through the statuses. It's based off of the actions. Everything needs to be noted, and that's how the student progresses through the student cycle. Anybody have any other questions?
No, I mean, so far it's pretty clear. Looks like a pretty efficient system.
Yeah, one of the features here, I think the technology team is working on is the dialer. So when a rep gets it, they have the auto dialer where they just click on the phone number, and on here, where to the right where I have options. I don't have it because I'm not, plugged into the dialer, but I would see a phone and I would just click on it and it'll automatically dial the lead, and that automatically gets logged into the record as a dial, like here, and then it gets recorded. Up here, we have some filters. Again, like each rep can, create their own filters based on their needs. So you can filter by status, group, and rep, by campaign, and time frame. Once you create a filter that you want to save, you save that filter, and then you can definitely go here and pull up that filter moving forward. So it has little shortcuts there that can help you manage the leads better. Here's a new one that just came in. It's a new status. We don't have a program. It came from our live chat source. It got assigned to Anel, and now she needs to make contact with that student. So here we see it assigned to Anel. If Anel does not, through the automatic distribution module, if Anel does not call the student within the specified time frame, usually about 30 minutes, it'll get reassigned to the next representative until somebody calls it. Any questions, guys?
No questions yet. No. And I see that little garbage bin or delete button over there. We can't accidentally delete a lead, right? Can you disable that feature?
Yeah, you guys will not be able to do it.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
All right, so if we have no more questions, then that will conclude our training today. Again, we are recording. This training was actually recorded, so we'll be able to send that over to you via a YouTube link.
Perfect. And then probably, I guess not on this meeting, but maybe a follow-up meeting, we'd still like to get a kind of a walkthrough through the application process from a student perspective, right? Because a lot of times during the interview, our team just goes through the process of helping a student fill out the application. So it'd be very helpful if we know what that's like so that we can guide our students through it.
Absolutely. We'll definitely schedule something. We'll work with Richard on that.
Yeah. Do you already have something along the lines of that? Maybe like a guide or something we can pull up? Or is that not available yet?
No, not available. Especially right now, we're developing a new application. It'll be out next week. So you guys will probably be the first ones to test it out for us too.
Oh, that's great news. Okay, perfect. Okay. All right. Well, thank you so much, guys. I appreciate the walkthrough. Very informative, and I'll sync up with Chris to see what our next touch point is. Okay.
Sounds good.
Sounds good. Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you for joining the training today. This concludes our training, and we'll be sending out a follow-up email with a link. Thank you so much for joining our presentation today.
Awesome. Thank you, guys. Take care.